What first got me into boxing was outside of my work, like I think a sense that I wasn't achieving enough. So I came out of university and I spent most of my time there going out drinking like most people do. And then when I came into work life, that sort of lifestyle doesn't really translate. And I'd always been interested in sport and I'd always liked my sport. So I was really looking for something to give me a bit of purpose outside of my work. So what attracted me to boxing is, I think, being scared of it. So I played rugby for like 10 years, and I'd done like little bits of boxing, but mainly like on a fitness basis. And I knew that boxing was probably a good thing for me to do because I was nervous just like stepping foot into the gym. Like I had to like in my head like bite the bullet and just be like, just don't think about it, just sign up for it. And I knew that it'd be a challenge for me. Originally I thought the main thing would be losing weight, but, and obviously that is a side effect, but like what I've benefited more from is like the mental challenges that you don't get as much of through team sports. I wanted to try to overcome my fears around it, just because I felt like that's a good way to build self-esteem, right? Is to feel like you can't do something, or to be nervous about something and then to go through and do it. So I came and I joined and I did classes and learned the basics, and then I threw myself straight into training for a fight because once I'd sort of got comfortable in the gym, that was my first sort of step, and then after that it's like, well, what do I do now to sort of challenge my mind a bit more? Yeah. In terms of my mental health, boxing has helped me through two different ways, I guess. Firstly, through self-esteem, and that self-esteem comes from like achieving things which you weren't sure if you were capable of doing. So that's just training in the first place, picking new things up, learning to fight, but actually fighting and getting that big achievement. And then the other way is discipline. So I feel like when I was a student and I was out and I was drinking all the time, I used to think that I was happy, but really because my life was quite unstructured, and it lacked a bit of purpose. Yeah, I did my lessons and all that sort of stuff, but really that's only a few hours a week, and the rest of it's all just sort of not really achieving anything. So having a bit of discipline and committing to coming here pretty much every day and working on yourself and improving has been so much more beneficial than I could have imagined that it would have been. Yeah, I think structure and discipline is what benefits you in the rest of your life with it. So it can be a bit painful sometimes coming all the time, but you do get hooked to improvement. But structure and discipline I apply to like my work life. I apply to just like the way that I eat and my health in general, and then just by all that stuff makes you feel better about yourself, which then impacts your relationships, and it just it has quite a holistic improvement on your life. So when I finished the class, apart from like drowning in sweat and looking forward to getting home, I think that you get that massive endorphin rush that you get from exercise. And I think before I started boxing as well, like what my exercise used to be, I sort of go to the gym and chuck around weights for an hour, and you don't really get the same endorphin rush out of it because you don't actually work that hard. I'm texting on my phone, sort of scrolling Facebook, lifting a bit of this, and then popping home after an hour. But for this to actually be pushed like what feels like beyond your physical and mental limits, and to come out of it drowning in sweat, and it makes you gives you a lot more of a uplift compared to say like weight training on its own. So yeah, I find that meeting people and having that community around the sport definitely helps you to kick on with it. It's something that I didn't expect at all when I started. I thought that boxing was a solo sport and I would sort of always be like up against other people, or it'd be competitive. And then through training for a fight, you gain a lot of respect for people who you fight with and who you train with, and you become very close very quickly. and those sort of friendships inside and outside of the gym are really beneficial for your life. So yeah, I suppose there is a positive process in terms of your mindset changing. I think as a young man especially, you're prone to bravado and like big ego, and like because I've always been a big lad as well, like I've always thought that I can handle myself, and then coming into a boxing gym and actually fighting people who are better than you, and taking like criticism on board, accepting your weaknesses and trying to work on them, all these things, they make you more confident, but that confidence is grounded in actual ability rather than being grounded in ignorance or arrogance. Yeah, in terms of like being humbled, I also think as a young person, like it calms you down. So I think a lot of young people, like around 22 myself, and a lot of people always like drunk and fighting, and it's reflective of like inner anger, I suppose, and training, something like this, just training and having that discipline, and also still having that outlet of a bit of aggression, then means that like when you're out and about on the street, you don't have to prove yourself to anyone, and you don't have to feel like you don't have to escalate a situation when they arise, like and it means that you get into a lot less trouble. So yeah, so having that ability means that when I walk around and engage in my everyday life, I'm a lot more humble. I don't feel like I have to have anything to prove to anyone, and obviously you have that confidence where if you end up in like aggressive situations, you can deal with them better. But it also teaches you that it's also not worth it.